First of all, you don't want to be using your main domain. You want to protect your main domain and you want to be using additional domains. Journalists are fundamentally expecting inbound messages.
They're bringing over a lot of the same tactics, and it's a different game.
If anything does happen, it can get flagged pretty quickly. I wanted to talk about email deliverability and the dangerous times we live in. And if you are doing any sort of digital PR outreach, how you can get started if you're doing it on your own, how you can manage your emails throughout that process, and how you can set yourself up for protection against the impending doomsday future. First of all, let's just talk about using email for digital PR. First of all, you don't want to be using your main domain. That should be like a starting point. You want to protect your main domain and you want to be using additional domains. So this is a known thing in cold email. I think digital PR is a bit different because journalists are fundamentally expecting inbound messages from people that they quote unquote don't know. Many of you will have built relationships with journalists, but that exchange of email they're expecting it. And I think very, very much less likely to be hitting that sort of report a spam button. Yeah. So straight away, we're not just, in the cold email game, but we want to follow the same principles to protect domain deliverability and the ability to run this sort of email going into the future. So the first thing that you want to do is have a separate domain. And then you want to have that domain 301 redirect to your main domain. That's first and foremost. You also want to be warming up your domain. So you don't want to just start a brand new domain and then start blasting out emails. You need to warm it up. And you can use a free tool that can do that or some paid tools. Instantly.ai is one that we've had some luck with. You can get your emails, start warming them up, normally about 2 to 3 weeks, I think. And that's just going to show some activity on that account, set you up for success, not get you blacklisted straight off the bat. So I think those are some good initial principles. We know somebody recently who's in the PR game who had some trouble with email, and it's actually devastating. It could be devastating to the longevity of a business, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think another thing in that, so you've got the basic, follow these things to protect your domain and increase deliverability, those kind of things. But there's also, as you get more and more people from the SEO world entering digital PR, they're bringing over a lot of the same tactics, and it's a different game. I think digital PR is not a place for spray and pray. That works when you're blasting a ton of publications and you expect them to come back with a price. How the other outreach-based link building goes. That's exactly how it works. And then it's fine because it's a transaction. They're going to come back with the price. You're going to either pay it, negotiate it, whatever. But digital PR doesn't work that way. And since it doesn't, you need to be more strategic with who you reach out to. You shouldn't just blast out an irrelevant story to a bunch of journalists. Yeah. Whatever your story is, you should be, focusing on the journalists who cover those topics.
Yeah, 100%. And then once you're in that digital PR workflow and you're regularly sending emails to journalists, you want to do regular email health management. And that's on a domain level. So I'm just going to show you just super quickly, just some free tools that you can use to check that, what you should be looking for, and then what to do, obviously, if you notice any problems. So MX Toolbox is a great starting point. You can just pop your domain in. This obviously isn't the domain that we use for email, but this is our domain. You can run a search on that, and then it's going to check any problems, errors. We have just some of these basic warnings, but from a general perspective, this is a clean bill of health in terms of email deliverability. And obviously we do this for our main domain as well, because we use this for client email.
I was really praying no critical errors would pop up.
Yeah. And obviously you won't be doing this on a weekly basis because, we have had critical errors come up in here before. Me and you both have had mini panic meltdowns where we've gone, what's happening? So obviously we've put into place this as a check across the board so that if anything does happen, it can get flagged pretty quickly and we can put things into place to rectify it. The next thing you want to do is make sure you're not appearing on any spam lists. So there's a lot of publicly available spam databases, which email service providers will check against and use that data for their own deliverability and blacklisting on their site. So you could just do a simple blacklist check on your domain and you want to see a sea of green that everything is okay. These just timed out, but you can see all good. You also want to be making sure that in your setup, you've got all of the correct SPF, DKIM and DMARC policy records. So this is your authentication records. You want to make sure that these are done. And I want to give you a little hack because I am not in any way, shape like a coder. This stuff like fries my brain. We've got emails across multiple different hosts. Go to your host provider, go onto the live chat and ask them to do it for you. 99% of the time, the first thing that they will do in response to that request is send you a URL, a link to a guide on their website how to do it. Respond to that message by saying, I've read this, do it for me politely, and they will oblige. Okay. Yeah. And then you can check it, make sure that it's all accurate in like a DKIM, DMARC test, which is on here as well. And that'll all be verified and you'll be up and running. Finally, you want to be checking your email copy in your digital PR campaigns against something like the Mailmeter spam checker. So this will flag words that are deemed as spam. So even simple copy in your emails, overly used, can start to deteriorate the perception of the quality of your domain, and eventually, reduced email deliverability to the point where it becomes unusable. And we can avoid this by doing simple spam check on the copy that we produce. And that can often just mean that we don't have to change the entire story. We just have to tweak some of the words that will be flagged as spam.
I like this shady section. Flags the words that are shady. I think cold email. I mean, it's a bit different for digital PR.
A little bit different, but it's a good way. But So this is all stuff that you can do. First of all, in order to make sure your domains are set up correctly, make sure your email's working correctly, have a good email health management process in place to do regular checks, check the copy that's going out in your email, and then also have backup email and backup domains as well.
Definitely. And I like what you said earlier, lean on your hosting company to do this. Because I think some of this, with like the DMARC stuff, for a lot of people, it'll seem very simple. For other people, it will seem like a nightmare. So lean on your hosting company. They can do most of these things for you.
They can, and then you can rest easy knowing that everything's correct. And as well, we want to be hyper aware. Of what's coming in the future as well. One final point, and this is probably an issue with digital PR, is and Google and Microsoft are getting a lot more strict on this and will be in the coming weeks and months ahead. One of the major flags is duplicate content sent to multiple recipients, which is essentially
your doomsday comment.
Which is essentially digital PR, isn't it? You're sending the same story to multiple journalists, and therefore it's time to start thinking about how we can add hyper personalization across campaigns going to varying domains and different journalists. But that is for another day.
Another time.
Yeah.
All right. Love it.